Right now, though, we are going to go back to Baltimore. We were telling you Maryland Governor Wes Moore, they're expected to take a tour of the demolition work for the Francis Scott Key Bridge. Let's listen in to what the governor is saying.
I want to join the governor in thanking all the men and women who are part of this construction effort to replace the Key Bridge. We all remember where we were when this bridge collapsed. We remember the 6 lives lost. We remember the heroism. We also remember the resolve, first of all, the governor's team and the federal delegation and everybody to open the port, and then the determination to make sure we rebuild this bridge. And I'm pleased to be joined also by members of the federal delegation. You see here Johnny Oshevsky, who was county executive at the time, Sarah Elfreth, Angela Alsterbrooks couldn't be here for another reason, and Congressman Fume. We immediately, this is to your question on the funding. We immediately introduced legislation called the Bridge Act, which provided full federal funding for the replacement of the Key Bridge. It took some time. We were all pushing very hard, but we were able to get it over the finish line. Senator Cardin was in the Senate as my partner at the time, Congressman Fume in the House, and that is secure funds. We put the funds earmarked essentially within what's called the Emergency Relief Fund, and we increased the Federal Emergency Relief Fund to $8 billion. So those funds are set in stone, they're set in statute, and I'm glad that they also give this project and everybody involved the certainty that those monies will be there as they need them.
Governor Moore, we know that the NTSB came out with its assessment, and one of the issues was they said that Maryland transportation officials did not do an updated risk assessment. What has been done after action to look at what didn't happen and what can be changed in the future?
Well, one thing we saw from the report was that this bridge was completely up to code, as is every single Maryland bridge is completely up to code. But we also know that there are important lessons learned that we have from this, and that after the tragedy of the Key Bridge, and to be clear, the tragedy of the Key Bridge happened because we had a ship that was the size of 3 football fields that plowed into a bridge that even the former Secretary of Transportation has indicated that there is hardly a structure in the country that could have survived that kind of impact and that kind of size. And so, of course, we are now taking active actions, and we have put millions of dollars from a state perspective around protection of our bridges. But every single bridge in the state of Maryland is up to code, and we are making sure that every single person knows there is safety in traveling around Maryland's roadways.
And talk about the significance against a year later, 6 lives were lost, but really the progress that's been done to rebuild this and just the lives of those families.
You know, I know I speak for everybody here that seeing it from this perspective is breathtaking, because we have been to this area on countless occasions via boat, but understanding what happened that night, understanding what it was like in the moments for the last moments of the 6 individuals that we lost, seeing the height that this bridge is at and the enormity of this bridge. This is nearly a 2-mile long bridge. This was a bridge that when it was first constructed, it took nearly 5 years just for the permitting and design to get done. And so to now be here at a time where a little over a year after this horrific tragedy, that we are now already, not just in the demo phase, but planning on the construction phase starting later on this year. Considering the size of this bridge, considering how long a bridge of this type normally takes, not only I think for each and every one of us, we're saying a special prayer for those families right now, just seeing it and experiencing it from this angle and perspective, but also a deep degree of thanks for all the hard-working men and women who have been here literally since last March, making sure that we can get this bridge rebuilt and making sure that we can restore something that is incredibly important to people, not just in the Baltimore region, but around the state.
Last question. You just talked about all the bridges and said that they were up to code, but there were some concerns regarding the Bay Bridge. Are there any plans to make any upgrades or changes to the Bay Bridge to ensure safety?
Well, there's been a planning and evaluation process that's been taking place for the Key Bridge long before our administration even came on board. That has been a long-standing evaluation and project that's then taking place. But the Bay Bridge is up to code. people should not think that the Bay Bridge is not a safe bridge to travel on. There is not a platform or a roadway that we would deem unsafe that we would then still allow Marylanders to use. And so while there has been long time research and evaluation that's been taking place long before our administration came on board, the Bay Bridge is a safe bridge for people to travel on.
Thank you guys. Thank you very much. That's all we have time for today.
You've been listening to Governor Wes Moore there, along with Senator Chris Van Hollen there, as they tour part of the demolition process happening there at the Key Bridge in Maryland, some 16 months after it collapsed into the bay there. Again, this is just part of the demolition process. It's still a long way off from
very
the
long process
reconstruction.
to rebuild that
Yeah.
bridge for sure. But you heard the governor saying that the bridges in Maryland are up to code, and of course they're going to take all the necessary precautions and appropriate steps when rebuilding the Francis Scott Key Bridge.